Hi, Michelle here from soultranslator.com. Today is May 1st. It is the Beltane holiday, shall we say. It is a time to appreciate and express our creativity and the fertility of the earth and the time of spring and the summer coming around the corner. So I'd like to tie this idea into something that I'd like to speak about in this episode, which is this idea of consistency. So fertility, consistency, what do the two have to do together? Well, often when we birth new things or new relationships, dreams, projects, whatever it may be, there is this idea that, of course, in order to make anything real and solid, we have to be consistent. So I work with empaths and empath entrepreneurs, and this is kind of one of those things that it can be very challenging for us, and the thing that we often also want to make ourselves do. So that is meaning consistency. I want to give a little bit of a different twist on consistency this week and how it ties into this week's energy casting. So I'd like to offer a bit of a different twist around this idea of consistency, particularly for empaths and empath entrepreneurs, because it can be really challenging for us to fit ourselves into that mold. There's the idea, of course, in business, and actually pretty much if you see it in most genres of life, where if we are to consistently apply ourselves to something, eventually we'll get to a place where we'll build the audience, we'll have, proficiency, we'll be mastered at something, or, we'll have the most wonderful income that we desire, whatever the case may be. There's this idea of that consistency is going to bring about those results. Whether they're the internal sense or the external results. And I'd like to offer a different view on this because I agree with that and I believe it's important. But what I also see and have experienced myself is, as working with empaths and empath entrepreneurs, this is it's a sticky point for us. If you consider yourself an empath or an empath entrepreneur, this idea of consistency is a challenge, because sometimes empaths can be called and feel like they're a bit commitment phobic. And I'd like to offer an idea here that the reason that is true for many of us is because we intuitively, instinctively know that we want to pay attention to our internal state before we make too many commitments, or to keep showing up consistently doing something in particular, because we are not very good at faking things. We are, we're the kind of like the BS detectors in others. So my God, imagine what it's like that we do for ourselves. And a sense of loyalty and integrity is really, really important to us. So as it is for many people, but there is a little bit more at stake sometimes for empaths because of our sensitivity. We can't commit to things if we don't feel like they're a really good alignment for us. And unfortunately, many of us, as you may have experienced as well, have repercussions. We have the fallout of committing to things and trying to put ourselves into those schedules or those, this is 1, 2, 3, ABC, this is how you do it. And we end up squashing our creativity and our energy. The thing that a lot of people may not realize about empaths is that we are giving energy so much more than we are necessarily receiving. So we are really needing to have freedom to rebuild ourselves. And so that idea of consistently doing something, a weekly newsletter, a workout routine that's the same thing over and over that we're expected to do and check off the boxes, that can be much more challenging for empaths and empath entrepreneurs. So with this idea of consistency, it's not about not being consistent. It's about reframing how you are consistent. So the truth that I experience is that empaths and empath entrepreneurs are actually way more consistent than they think they are. It's just that they're consistent on more of those internal skills than they are in the production of things. So it's something to think about for you to look at this week and say, if you identify as an empath entrepreneur, where do I consistently show up? How is a way that I can continue to move my project, my work, my relationship, anything that matters to you forward in a way that feels really natural, that gives you that space to keep showing up, and which is sometimes challenging in and of itself for empaths, especially introverted empaths, and how to be able to also, what are you doing for yourself that's going to feed you so that you can keep giving energy? Remember, I said we give so much more energy than we get. And this idea that empaths are sponges is a little bit backwards. We do feel, we take in a lot, but we give so much more. And it's important to look at this, how you can work with yourself to be consistent in a way that feels authentic. And sometimes that might mean looking at doing your schedule in a different way that gives you a little more downtime, or gives you a little less social engagement time and a little more refueling time. Because the thing is with empaths, we are not necessarily on command kind of people. Because of the sensitivity level. And that's something actually to really, really cherish, because it also means that when we are taking care of ourselves and showing up for our family, our work, our audience, it's really coming from a very authentic place, and much more empowered place and powerful place at that. So that is the energies that I propose that you work with this week around what does it mean for you to be consistent? What are you truly consistent at? If you look at more of those internal abilities, like I'm consistently honest, I'm consistently creative, I'm consistently speaking up for those who in the world who need and want help, who can't speak up for themselves. I'm consistently trying new ways to engage with new people. So there's lots of different ways we can play with this idea. So if you'd like to learn some more ways about how to take care of yourself as an empath, I have a quiz and also a free mini course over on my site. You can find it at michelleanitahuerta.com/empathquiz-degree.